Good day, everyone. It's your girl MJ checking in for my first month of doing alternate day fasting. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick recap of how this fourth week went, along with just an overview of how the entire went of doing ADF went for me. I'm also going to mention weight loss, if any, thus far. I actually looked at my calendar and it looks like I have been doing ADF for exactly a month. I started doing it on a Monday, March 14th, and today is a Friday, April 15th. So it's been exactly about a month since I embarked on this pattern of eating. In terms of how this past week for me went, it was fairly simple. I think the last time I spoke with you, it was on a Friday on my daughter's birthday, which should have been fasting day for me, but I turned that day into a 4-hour eating window. And then Saturday was a regular feasting day, and then Sunday I went back to my regular schedule of fasting. And then that totally just went well. I found that this week, because of being busy with work, being busy with curriculum or course creation in preparation of next school year, I really did not find fasting days to be very challenging. In fact, I actually craved it, especially on the days where I had so many things on my to-do list to accomplish. And so for that, I'm finding a bit of a solace in knowing that I don't have to take time out of my busy day to prepare my meals, and I could just concentrate on doing productive work instead of eating or taking a break. And so I'm really loving that aspect of it. In terms of how the entire month went for me, for those of you who are thinking of embarking on this journey, I want you to know that the first couple of weeks of doing ADF, you have to really brace yourself for how challenging it's going to be, particularly in the first week. It's such a change from the way we're used to eating, that not eating every other day and having to really ride the wave of the cravings, ride the wave of the hunger pangs, and to know that you're going to be fine and that you're going to be okay. That takes a mental commitment going in, that takes mental strength and just a resolve that you're going to complete it. And I think if you do that, you're going to totally be just fine. I found in my case that after a couple of weeks, it wasn't easy, but it definitely got easier. The headaches went away. The challenging of having to overcome intense cravings for food on a particular hour or hours for you is one that you really have to document and pay close attention to, because once you have that and you have that knowledge, you can kind of go into those hours really prepared and know that you're going to be challenged, and that's okay, and that you could just sit with that discomfort and it's totally going to be just fine. So week 3 for me, as you know, was a bit of a mess because I was on spring break with my kids, and I just made a decision not to really sweat the alternate day fasting, and I fasted within hours of window. Either I did a 4-hour eating window, or I did OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, which means I would typically fast for about 23 hours and would give myself an hour of eating window. So that one was good. And, and I first I was concerned with whether or not I could easily pick back up into alternate day fasting as soon as that week was over. But I found that this past week, I totally had no problem with that. It was totally okay. I was fine. And the headaches didn't come back. I wasn't really struggling. So yeah, that part of it, I think more than anything, what's at the forefront of this pattern of eating or this lifestyle is really a commitment to fasting. And once you have that, and once that is your main focus, and you do your research in terms of the benefits of fasting, I think you find more and more that there's so many more benefits to fasting than just weight loss. And I think that's the part that I really am loving. I'm loving knowing that I am giving my body a chance to heal parts of itself that needs healing, that needs correcting. I find that, and I know that people in the past that I follow on ADF have talked about this, but my obsession with food, my preoccupation with food when I'm not eating is lessening. I'm finding food to not have such a central role in my life because I'm such an emotional eater. I'm such a stress eater that whenever stress and emotions come up for me, that's the first thing I want to do. And I'm finding that to be less the case for me. And for that alone, I think I'm loving it because I have such a messed up relationship with food, always have been. I've always had that. And so I'm really looking forward to healing that. I'm really looking forward to being mindful of that moving forward in my, older years so that I'm not so jacked up with it anymore. And so that part really, I think out of all the benefits is what I'm really loving. Another thing I am loving is it really is shrinking your stomach because on the days that I get to eat, I really at times have to force myself to eat. Like I know oftentimes I would be good to eat at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I find that I don't even get my green smoothie until like 10 or 11 o'clock just because I don't feel the urge to eat. I'm not hungry. I'm not chomping at the bits to get something in my system. Whereas that wasn't really the case the first couple of weeks of fasting. So that part I'm loving. What else? Another benefit that I didn't even realize was going to be a benefit is your eyesight. Your eyesight gets better over time for some reason. I guess I found out through research and through watching a lot of Dr. Berg's video on YouTube where he talks about fasting and improvement of eyesight due to fasting, what I realized is because eyesight's connected to insulin and whether or not you have insulin resistance, but because of fasting, because of a pause from digestion, that your body actually slowly resets itself in terms of insulin. And that is the reason for why eyesight gets better. And I thought that was so fascinating. And then I went on the internet and there were like numerous anecdotal items on the internet about people's eyes just getting better. And for someone who has really bad eyesight, that's something I'm really looking forward to further reaping as I go along this lifestyle. What else? Let me talk about my weight loss. I'm sure you guys are curious to find out if I dropped any weight. As you know, third week of ADF that I didn't really do ADF, I opted not to get on the scale. And so exactly today, I stepped on the scale, but I also stepped on the scale after Monday's fasting, and that registered 168.4, which is exactly 7 pounds from my original weight when I first started doing ADF. Today I got on the scale just to have a final number before I don't get on the scale for the next month. I lost another 0.2, so I registered at 168.2, which is a drop of 7.2 pounds for the month. I think I'm making a decision not to get on the scale. I find that getting on the scale frequently reminds me so much of my HCG days, and it's just really not healthy for my mind. And so I'm really taking a pause on that and just letting my body do what my body is going to do and trusting that eventually it's going to let go of the weight. And if it does that at a rate of 1 pound a week or half a pound a week, at some point I just have to be okay with that, because again, this is not something I'm looking to just like diet or do something and then at the end of the 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or however long that I'm going to be done and I can go back to eating the way that I'm eating. There really isn't a eating the way that I'm eating because I'm eating the same. There are no foods off limits for me right now, and that is really making my brain so happy, making me so happy. I feel really healthy mentally and emotionally when it comes to that. So this is a long-term journey that I am embarking upon, and I do hope that through this pattern of eating, based on all the stories or videos or experiences I've come across from the internet, that it is quite possible. So I'm just trusting that, and I'm trusting the process, and for that reason alone, I think I'm gonna lay off the scale. Although I would be lying to say if I didn't mention that I'm a little disheartened at how slow it is going. I, for some reason, had an expectation that I would drop 10 pounds this month, and that just didn't happen. And I'm okay with that. And part of the big reason that I'm okay with that is a couple of the jeans that used to be super snug on me prior to starting this are now fitting comfortably and a little bit loose. And I'm really liking that. And so I'm just going to trust that it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I didn't measure myself prior to starting this, but I think I am going to measure myself tomorrow, which is a month after I started. And hopefully from there, I can gauge differences in terms of inches on my body. But yeah, what else do I want to mention? I think that is it. I think that's everything. Today is a Friday. I just got done with work. I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm gonna go to that in about 15 minutes. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I wish I could drop more weight, but that's just not the reality of this weight loss. There is a guy that I follow. I think A Year of Fasting is his YouTube channel. And he has been doing it for over a year, and he too had the same sentiment where he said, you know, he didn't realize it would take so long to drop the weight, but he has lost like 50 pounds. But more than anything, he can foresee himself doing this for a really long time, if not for life, you know, as a way to manage his weight loss. And he's really liking it. And so he's one that I follow. He doesn't post as frequently, but I have watched all his videos to see kind of like the overview of each time he would, you know, upload and talk about like changes and what he's noticing and weight loss and what have you. So anyway, I think that is it for me. Somehow I managed to ramble probably an extra 2-3 minutes. It's been fun chatting with some of you on my comments, and thank you to all my new subscribers. I do hope that you don't find my journey too flawed, but one thing I do promise you is I'm always going to be honest with you, and I'm always going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't believe in hiding anything. I'm coming on here not just for you, but for myself, so that I could see the transformation of not just my physical body, but hopefully my mental and emotional health through this process. All right, you guys, it's been lovely chatting with you. Have yourself a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day. Namaste.